What is going on, everyone? Welcome to my second part of the Q&A video series, and here in beautiful Stuttgart, Germany, and I thank you for the second round of questions, and I'm excited to dive right into them. So yeah, let's tackle these one by one. Britain's exit. I was in Cologne, Germany when that happened about 3 weeks ago, and I didn't see a lot of visceral reactions. I met a few backpackers who were from Great Britain or the United Kingdom, and they were rather depressed or rather pissy during a drinking game. So, as you can imagine, because they had to pay like an extra like 10% on their trip because the pound value had gone significantly down by the time that was happening. So I haven't seen any visceral reactions, but I think the reaction that stood out to me the most, and it's rather subliminal. I'm not sure if it related to the European Union. I was in Berlin watching the soccer game, and I made a Norwegian friend who said like, "Okay, whatever you do, don't ever root for the UK." And then I said like, "Why? Why can't I root for them?" And then she said, "Because they're English." So I think it had something to do with Britain's exit. So not too visceral, but there have been a few interesting moments regarding Britain's exit here in Europe. The most difficult thing about traveling Europe, and this may come as like a more somber answer, but it's the truth. It's when you're traveling alone by yourself and you're not being able to share with anyone, it can take a social and mental toll on you after a while. I mean, I'm not like going through like terminal depression or any of that stuff, but being able to experience this amazing food and museums, uh, you know, at least with people who I'm probably not going to know for at least more than a week, at most. Um, you know, it keeps me socially healthy to meet people and make some new friends. But most of the people that I'm seeing are people that I'm not going to know for more than a week. So it's very weird that I'm not in the presence of people that I haven't known for more than a year. So that gets to you emotionally after a while. I mean, just yesterday, up until I made some phone calls with family and friends, like, I didn't speak more than like 50 words collectively that entire day. And it was weird because I only know just enough German just to get by. And people do speak English, but I don't really have any reason to speak English while I'm here in Europe. So yeah, that can be difficult at times. When it comes to learning things about myself in a country where it's not my primary language and it's not my primary culture, the most cliche answer that I can give you, because it's the only answer that stands out to me, is my country and culture is not the be all end all. There are other cultures out there, and there isn't just one way to experience a culture. And I've learned that German people and Czech people thus far are very much different than American people, and for that matter, Czech people are very much different than German people. Um, so before I traveled to Europe, I did acknowledge the fact that cultures are different, but it really makes sense when you're actually in the country itself, because it's very easy to acknowledge that idea. But then once you're in the country, you really start to understand that uh, in a lot of ways that you are boxed within certain invisible barriers. So. And the other thing that I really learned that stands out to me now that I think about it is when I'm in Europe and I look at all these beautiful buildings and rich history and architecture and stuff like that, and I hear Europeans saying that they want to visit America, I almost think to myself, like, why do you want to visit our country? It's like, you guys have richer history than us, and all the buildings that you're going to be in the presence of are going to be at least within 100 years of construction. So there's not a lot of rich history to show for. Also, like, I realized that our food, like, our food isn't really that good back in the States. I mean, it is good, but I mean, it's not iconic in any way. There's so many Europeans that I've asked who have visited America. I asked them, so when you were in America, what food stood out to you the most? Like, what are we really great at cooking? And then they would take a pause and they would take a minute to think of a food that they would like, and then they said, I can't really think of anything. And I'm like, see, there you go. Interesting question. What do I miss about the US and what will I miss about Europe? As you can see, I moved to a new location because there were a couple of guys out there playing tennis and they were making a bunch of noise, so I figured I should move because I didn't want the video to be too distracting. So anyway, what do I miss about the US? I don't miss it for cultural reasons, which is rather strange. Anytime a European backpacker asks me what it's like living in the States and what do I like about it, it's never for cultural reasons. I can't really say anything that I culturally like about the US. Not that I hate it, but nothing really stands out. It's just a neutral culture to me now that I visited Europe with all this rich history and architecture and stuff like that. I just miss it for petty reasons like friends, family, movie culture. Movie culture is a little bit more interesting back in Los Angeles. Your movie culture in European is just, it's just a means of entertainment. That's all it is. When it comes to, okay, I will say the one thing that I do miss about America is that people do tend to smile a little bit, even during work days, and have a more, my fun sense and whimsy sense of humor, even when I'm going to a place like Target. At least people can smile while they're working, even if they don't like their job. Because in German culture and Czech culture, every time I walk into a cafe or a restaurant, I always feel so uncomfortable walking in there because everything's just about the work and they're just focused and they're just there to just provide the service and that's it. And it's not that they don't like you, it's just part of the culture. They're just very focused and direct. So that's been uncomfortable lately. What will I miss about Europe? Well, public transportation here is quite fascinating and unbelievable. I mean, the speed trains have been some of the best moments on this trip because I'm, sailing by through the land, looking at all the nice landscapes and the electric mills are really cool, and how timed and exact everything is when it comes to traveling. The weather is nice, the trees are nice, the food obviously. So yeah, those are the things that I miss about Europe. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. That was the second part of my questions. Hopefully that is the last part that I'll have to do. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys around.